Welcome on in, guys. Three bold takes, and we are back again with some more predictions. I believe it's week 11 of the college
Yeah.
football season. But before we do that, we want to thank our partner SeatGeek for giving us a discount code to save you guys $20 off your first purchase. That code is three bold takes. Again, three bold takes, all spelled out for $20 off your first purchase. So thanks SeatGeek for sponsoring the channel.
All right, guys, and we're going to end it today or this week talking the Holy War. 9:15. We got BYU at Utah. BYU favored by 3.5, over under 40.5 on this one. Guys, this is one of my personal favorite rivalries. It's very underrated, and I'm just super interested to see if anybody here is calling for a Utah upset.
Chase, did you know this was a rivalry?
I feel like Quinn's mentioned it before. I can't lie.
How do you not know this is a rivalry game?
This just doesn't.
Mormons versus Protestants, man.
Yeah, that's just something that yeah, no, at all. I mean, again, guys, if you've watched the channel for any length of time, you know that Quinn will pull some rivalry out of nowhere that nobody's ever heard of, and it's a legitimate thing. So Quinn just has insane knowledge of rivalry.
I feel like this was not an obscure rivalry game, though.
I think it is for the average college football fan.
I guess I just don't
Southeast.
Rivalries. Yeah, I'm more of a SEC guy. I can tell you most of those, and still not as much as you, Quinn. But yeah, I'll go ahead and take it. BYU and the BYU. Retzlaff, absolutely love him. That's his nickname. He's done exceptionally well this season, manning the ship for the Cougars. Actually, this is one of their best seasons to date. And it's a lot. It's a lot of fun to watch them because they're doing it. They're doing it with a chip on their shoulder as underdogs, still underdogs in most of their games from a fan perspective, just because this was a Group of Five team 2 years ago, and they're not a powerhouse yet, but they're showing up like, hey, we can compete with the Big 12. They have a great coach that is. I can't pronounce his name to save my life, so don't ask me. But they have a great coach that is hard-nosed, does really well in tight situations. You've seen that in some of the games that they've played this year, and just absolutely coached these guys to victory after victory. I think in the Oklahoma State game, I saw a couple that he had to kind of roll the dice for. So I know we don't kind of pay attention to coaching a lot with some of these predictions, but BYU has a wonderful coach, and I love watching how he controls a game and the way he does, and like also manhandling a game, kind of like the Kansas State one, where they got in front and never looked back. So, but on the other side of the ball, I think we need a moment of silence. Gentlemen, I think we need a moment of silence for Cam Rising and the Utah Utes. For the last 3 years,
a moment of silence.
Yeah, I was about to say, me and Quinn the last few years, just they can have Cam Rising. They're going to do it all. They're going to do, and in the offseason, especially me, I'm going to take the brunt of this one. Utah's going to win the Big 12. Nobody else. Utah's going to win the Big 12.
Oh, I was right there with you, bud.
And I couldn't let the Cam Rising thing go. I was like, if they can get Cam Rising, if he's healthy, they're winning it. Chase wasn't smart enough to understand that Cam Rising has no parts of his body that works anymore. And so now we're sitting at Utah with a 4-4 record and Zach Wilson's little brother at the helm, losing games like 13-7 and 17-14. One of those being to Houston, and then also allowing Arizona State to be relevant. So all in all, BYU easily should handle this game. BYU has an amazing offense, but I always get caught up every year when we pick one of these teams and saying, yeah, Utah's just done. They suck. It's over. Cash them in. And then Utah's defense says, no, Chase. We still can play pretty good defense, in which they do. They do, gentlemen. I think everybody that they've had at home this season, I think it's 4 games, 2 wins, 2 losses, if I'm not mistaken, have been held to 23 or less points. Break my heart one more time. We're going with the Utah Utes in this game, gentlemen. I'm going to take it. I think they upset BYU. I think BYU is due for an upset as well. BYU is I remember. I don't think it was last year. It might have been the year before. I remember distinctly. I was like, USC is going to beat the brakes off Utah. Oh my! And then Utah's defense is like, Chase, no. We can play defense. We might not have Cam Rising, but we can play defense. And gosh darn it, those Utah Utes can play defense. Give me Utah.
Wow.
Um,
I want to.
okay.
I just want to mention this real quick here. BYU's remaining schedule: Utah, Kansas, Arizona State, and Houston. Utah might be their best chance at a loss.
Yeah.
With the remainder of that schedule. I would throw Houston in there because, they just pulled off an upset, but let's be real. No, it's not going to happen. So if you're BYU, if you can squeak out a win this week against Utah, which, listen, 1-4 in the conference is piss poor. Oklahoma State is winless. Winless in the conference is piss poor. Right? These are two teams that a lot of people had picked to win the conference, and they're at the very bottom of the conference. My pick is like midway through, okay, in Kansas State. So this has been a crazy year for the Big 12. But because it's been a crazy year for the Big 12, Utah is winning this game. I'm going to go right there along with you, Chase. I think BYU is due for an upset. To be fair, I hope it doesn't happen, right? Because I love stories like this, teams that come out of nowhere and make a Cinderella-esque run, and that's what BYU is doing right now. So I don't know. They only have a 60% chance to win according to ESPN. Okay, 60%, favored by 3.5, and they're a top 10 team against a team that's 4-4. So obviously Vegas keeps underestimating BYU week in and week out. They keep being proved wrong. I think it comes to an end this week, and the Utah Utes get the win.
I wasn't expecting to, Quinn. I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting to. I don't know where Freddie came from, guys. Sorry, Quinn.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting two either. Honestly, I wasn't expecting one. That's why I dropped that in there at the start of the video. But Zach Wilson's brother beating BYU in their most successful season since the 80s would be wild. That would be a wild story. That's why it's not going to happen. Look, I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm picking BYU. And here's where I feel about this. You're saying they should have had their upset game. They should have had their upset game. Go and look at all the undefeated teams who've ever went undefeated, like all the way through a season. They have a game where they basically got upset and then they stole it at the last minute. That was BYU Oklahoma State a couple weeks ago. BYU's already been in that scenario. I don't think BYU comes into the Holy War in the best season they've had in years and loses to an average version of Utah. Like, I just do not see that happening. They're going to be so up for this game. If you want to tell me on that remaining schedule, you said it was what, Kansas, Arizona State, and Houston?
Mm-hmm.
I would watch out for the Arizona State game, if I'm being completely honest. That's the one I would circle as if they're going to lose a game in the regular season. It'll be that one. It will not be the Utah game. Give me the Cougars. They're going to stay undefeated, and they're going to lock down a top 4 spot in the college football playoff by the end of this year. I have no doubt.
You said top 4, Quinn?
Yeah, they're guaranteed.
Top 4.
They're guaranteed a top 4 spot as long as they're conference champion. Like, that's how that works.
Yeah, that is. You are correct.
That's how that works.
That is how it works. And again, here I was thinking that Utah could have done it at the beginning of the season.
We were close, Chase. We were on the wrong team inside of the state of Utah.
About 4 games off, yeah, for Utah.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty bad. About to be 5, but it's okay. But I guess that's going to do it for us, fellas. We done talking Holy War, BYU, Utah.
I believe so.
Okay, guys, thanks for checking this video out. We got 4 others just like it. And do not forget, use our code 3BOLDTAKES for 20% off with SeatGeek on your first purchase. That is 3BOLDTAKES, all spelled out for you. I've been Quinn, joined by Freddie and Chase, and we're out of here.